Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Gallagher, and today we're going to learn about ordering numbers. So the first key concept when ordering numbers is you must convert all numbers into decimal form. So all numbers must be in decimal form. There's 3 steps to ordering numbers. Step number 1, converting all your numbers into a decimal form. Step 2, after we convert all of our numbers into a decimal form, is you're going to put the numbers in order using the given directions. So what I mean by putting the numbers in order using the given directions, sometimes directions will say least to greatest. Other times directions will say greatest to least. So you're going to put the numbers in order using the given directions. And sometimes directions are going to say least to greatest or greatest to least. And the third step is you're going to put the decimals back into the original form. So we're going to put the decimals back into the original form, okay? So our 3 steps are the following. Step 1, you're going to convert all numbers into a decimal form. Step 2, you're going to put the numbers in order using the given directions, either least to greatest or greatest to least. And then step 3, you're going to put the decimals back into the original form. So now let's do an example together. So for example 1, it says order the following set of numbers from least to greatest. So now what's the directions asking us? They want to know from least to greatest. So we're going from the smallest to the biggest. And we have 4 1/2, the square root of 17, 4.4 repeating, and the square root of 16. So now step 1 is converting to decimal form. So now we have the first one, 4 1/2. What is 4 1/2 as a decimal? That would be 4.5. Next is the square root of 17. So you're going to use your calculator and type in the square root of 17, and you should get approximately 4.12. Now when you're dealing with square roots, I would definitely write a couple decimals down, and you'll see why a little bit later. Next one is 4.4 repeating, so that means basically 4.44. And the last one is the square root of 16, and the square root of 16 is equal to 4. Okay, so now step 2 is you're going to put the numbers in order using the given directions. So it says least to greatest. So now what's my smallest number here? Well, my smallest number here is 4. So I'm going to write 4 down. And you can cross out when you're done. That's what I like to do. Our next smallest number would be 4.12 because 1 comes before 5 and 4. So your next one is 4.12. Next smallest number is 4.44. And the last one is 4.5. So remember, you want to look at your tenths spot to see the smallest number. We have 1, 4, and 5, and that's how we got the smallest to the greatest. Now we're going to step 3. We're going to put the decimals back into the original form. So we're putting it back in the original form. So if you look here, 4 is the smallest. And the original form to 4 is the square root of 16. Next is 4.12. Well, the original form for 4.12 was the square root of 17. The next smallest was 4.44, and the original form was 4.4 repeating. And then lastly is 4.5, which is 4 1/2. So this is your final answer from least to greatest. Let's do another example together. Okay, so example 2, it says order the following set of numbers from greatest to least. So now this is greatest to least. Let's circle that. And the first thing you want to do is you want to convert all of your numbers into a decimal. So the first one is 3.7 repeating. So you're going to write that 3.77. The next one is 3 3/5, and 3/5 converts to 0.6, so it's 3.6. Okay, so now you have the square root of 13. And if you put the square root of 13 in your calculator, you notice you get 3.6. And if you notice, we already wrote down a 3.6. So you want to use a little more than just one decimal. You want to use a couple decimals after that 3.6. So you should get 3.606. And then lastly is 10 over 3. And that's going to give you 3.33. It's repeating. All right. So I have step 2, we're going to put the numbers in order with the given directions. Well, the given directions are saying greatest to least. So now what is my biggest number here? Well, my biggest number here is 3.77. Remember, you want to look at your 10th spot and see what your biggest number is. And 3.77 is my biggest. And again, you can cancel out when you're done. All right, our next biggest number, we have actually 3.6 and 3.606. Well, if you see here, we have more numbers. So that is going to be the greater value. So you're going to write 3.606. And that means that 3.6. And the smallest, the least, is 3.33. And then lastly, step 3, you want to put it back in the original form. So 3.7 was 3.7 repeating. 3.606 was the square root of 13. 3.6 was 3 3/5. And lastly was 3.33, and that's saying 10 over 3. And this is your final answer. We want a greatest to least. Let's do one more example together. Okay, let's look at example 3. You're going to order the following set of numbers from least to greatest. Negative square root of 14, negative 4 4/10, negative 3.8, and negative 17 over 4. Now, a key concept here is the bigger the negative, the smaller the number. So the bigger the negative, the smaller the number. So again, let's follow our steps that we just learned. Step 1, you want to convert each decimal or each number into a decimal form. So we have negative square root of 14. That's going to give you negative 3.74. Then you have negative 4 4/10. That's negative 4.4. Next you have negative 3.8 as already in decimal form. And then lastly, negative 17 over 4. 17 divided by 4 is to give you a negative 4.25. Okay. Now we want to follow the given directions. Put them in order of the given directions. And the directions are asking from least to greatest. From least to greatest. So our least to greatest, the bigger the negative, the smaller the number. So our smallest number would be negative 4.4. The bigger the negative, the smaller the number. This is your biggest negative, so it's your smallest number. The next smallest number, the bigger the negative, smaller the number, is negative 4.25. Our next is negative 3.8. And then lastly, negative 3.74. And our last step, put it back in original form. So negative 4.4 is negative 4 4/10. And again, if you want to cross it out when you're done, go for it. Negative 4.25 goes here to negative 17 over 4. Then our next smallest number is negative 3.8. That stays the same. And then lastly, negative 3.74, which is the negative square root of 14. And that is your answer. So what I would like you to do next is the you try section. You have 3 examples. I'd like you to do numbers 1, 2, and 3, and we will discuss it in class. Thank you.